It is a beautiful day and Peppa wakes up with a smile on her face.
Wake up, George.
Peppa exclaims.
We're going to the playground today. Hooray!
George calls out and jumps out of bed. Peppa and George hurry to get ready and go down to the kitchen. Mummy Pig is in the kitchen. Good morning, Peppa. Good morning, George, she says as they come running into the kitchen.
Good morning, Mummy,
says Peppa and George, and sit down to have some breakfast.
Where's Daddy?
Peppa asks. Daddy Pig is out packing the van. He's almost as excited as you are for having a picnic at the playground today, Mummy Pig answers, just as they hear the van honk outside.
Yay! Picnic at the playground!
Peppa and George cheer and run out to Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig is waiting in the van.
Let's go to the playground,
he says. And Peppa, George and Mummy Pig all hurry into the van and they are on their way. Daddy Pig really looks forward to getting to the playground.
Are you excited for trying out the new slide, Daddy?
Peppa asks as they park by the playground.
Not really,
Daddy Pig says.
But if you and George go and try it, me and Mummy Pig will set the picnic table. Mummy Pig has made delicious cupcakes.
Ooh!
Says Peppa and George. Then they hurry over to the new slide.
I'll go first since I'm the oldest,
Peppa says. Then she rushes down the slide.
Woohoo!
As soon as Peppa hits the ground, Daddy Pig is calling from the van.
Peppa, George, let's have some cupcakes now.
Oh, Daddy, can we please play a little longer first?
Peppa replies. Peppa wants to keep playing on the slide a bit more before having a picnic.
Oink!
Says George, and starts to climb up the stairs to the playhouse.
Oh, George, you're too little to use the slide,
Peppa says, and lifts George off the stairs, and then quickly hurries up to the slide again.
Woohoo!
George is crying as Peppa comes down from the slide.
Okay,
Peppa says.
Stop crying, George. You can try the slide now.
George stops crying and goes up the stairs.
I'll try the swing instead,
Peppa says, and hops onto the swing.
Peppa, George, cupcakes!
Daddy Pig shouts from the picnic spot.
Not yet, Daddy.
Peppa calls back. Then she hears George crying again up in the playhouse.
What's wrong now, George?
Peppa asks.
Scared!
He cried. Peppa gets off the swing and goes up to George.
Don't worry, George. I'll go with you.
Peppa says. Then George and Peppa go down the slide together. George is happy again and wants to try the seesaw.
No, George.
Peppa says.
You can't play on the seesaw by yourself. It won't work.
George cries again.
Okay, George.
Peppa sighs. But as Peppa gets onto the seesaw, it tips over to her side and George falls off and hits his head. George is crying again. Mummy Pig comes to get him. Come on, George. I know just how to cure bumps on the head, Mummy Pig says. With cupcakes.
Yay!
Here you are, George. Daddy Pig stands up from his chair.
Oh, I think I have a bump on my head too, Mummy Pig.
You do? Mummy Pig asks.
Yes, if you get a cupcake for every bump on the head, I think I actually have 2 bumps.
And they all laugh.